Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast. And I do this every Friday. We go over the top news of the week when it comes to retro handheld, retro gaming, and gaming in general. I'm a little under the weather this week, not feeling super great, so this may be a little bit more of a downcast newscast from how I feel. But first, we have some news to talk about. The popular upcoming front-end iiSU dropped a trailer this week about features and whatever is coming up soon. I haven't actually watched this. I had a friend of mine just kind of give me the Cole's notes of what happened in this presentation. And then this news got overshadowed by the developer, or the main developer, being a bit of a bigot, a racist, a transphobe, a bunch of different things. And this news all came out because the Discord was created on top of a friends group Discord without them removing all of those old messages. So if you went and searched messages by the creator, you would find a whole bunch of bad messages. Things that I am not going to be putting on the show. If you want to check my Blue Sky, you can check and see what was said. Long story short, the guy was a bit of a bigot, a bit of a racist, a bit of everything. So, long story short, he came out with an apology, as one does after getting caught, and it was full of sort of apology, sort of that's not who I am anymore, sort of what you would expect from this scenario. Keeping in mind that this was from 2 years ago up until a few months ago, and he is 28 years old now, 26 years old back when most of these things happened. So this isn't like an 18, 17-year-old kid. This is an actual adult with responsibilities and all of that. Anyways, the apology rang hollow for a lot of people, and today, as of me filming this, there was another statement put out, kind of victim blaming himself, and saying that he's going to step down from iiSU. The project will continue under the actual developers, but his part, or what he's doing, is stepping down, and he is refunding $5,000 worth of donations, which I guess $5,000 worth of people have donated to a project that has not done anything as of yet, which is scary in its own right. But either way, that is the story. That is as much as I want to tell right now. Look, it's a front end. You don't need to be doing teaser trailers about a front end. When you are done, when it is finished, you release the front end. You could do a video then with what is happening at that point, and then we can try it and play with it and all of that sort of thing. It is a front end. It is not, this isn't a Nintendo Direct. You just released the front end. Anyways, that is the story. So we will talk about iiSU again in the future. I was not going to talk about it, but he stepped down. So I will continue talking about iiSU in the future whenever something of noteworthy news pops up. Dolphin finally has retro achievements officially. We talked about this a few weeks back, how Dolphin, you could have gotten a build from GitHub that had achievements built into Dolphin Android. Sorry, I should have mentioned, this is Dolphin Android. And now it is official. If you grab the dev build or the development build from their website, it has achievements for Android. So I've actually tried this out. I earned my first retro achievement on Android for Dolphin, and it all seemed to work. There is a weird issue, I don't know if they fixed it yet, where it is hard mode by default or hardcore mode by default, and you have to toggle that off and on for it to work to go to softcore mode, or off and off, or whatever it is. You have to toggle it, and then it'll work for softcore. Even if it is off, just toggle it. It'll work for softcore. Anyways, this is very exciting. It helps with the Wii launch, I'm assuming. I don't think the Wii achievements will come to Android day and date as PC, but it should help for the future when it does. All we need now is 3DS achievements. The Xbox Ally devices have gotten an update, and it's actually a pretty big one. One of the things I mentioned in my review way back when was the fact that these devices made by Xbox did not have presets for the game to run good. Because when you're a consumer picking up an Xbox Ally, you expect it to just run without having to change settings, and you want the device to do that for you. Well, Xbox listened, and so there are 40 games as of right now where the device will automatically adjust the settings to make it run better. Now, what they're doing here is using a combination of TDP and FPS limit to achieve this, so it isn't so much the actual in-game settings from what my understanding is, but it is a start. there are basically profiles, and you check it and you turn it on or off if you want for the device to manage the profile for the game. So it is a start. I assume at some point, these games will get in-game presets for Xbox allies or whatever it is. And that's pretty cool. They also made a lot of changes to the responsiveness of the Xbox app, which is something that I had issues with. And they just improved the gamepad response, quicker library loading, and a bunch of other things, bug fixes and things like that. That, to me, is the bigger one. That's something I'm going to be using because the Xbox app was a little slow in a lot of scenarios. And to have it be a little bit more snappy, which I have confirmed since I've tried this, that's great. And I guess lastly, the full screen experience is expanded to other devices like MSI, Lenovo, and all that sort of thing. So it is coming across the board to all devices. You don't need an Xbox Ally to enjoy the full screen experience if you want it. Eden version 0.0.4 release candidate 3 is now out. And the TLDR of this is there is experimental support for firmware 21.x, so whatever is in the 21 firmware. Performance improvements, apparently, up to 10 FPS more in tested titles, they say. Fixes for graphical issues and UE4 crashes, which great because Eden and Switch emulators crash quite a bit. New Windows ARM64 builds, which is cool. Many fixes for Ryujinx save linking and profile handling, which is a kind of a weird little issue, but seems like it's fixed. And then we have MSVC PGO builds removed, and they're replaced with MinGW PGO builds. So you can look over the full changelog if you want, but it looks like just another incremental upgrade and some good ones here if their improvements of performance is across the board, but it seems like it's select titles from what they tested. Emulation Station has released a pre-release app image for Linux ARch64, which is an architecture that they haven't officially supported before, and now they do. With everything that's been happening with ARM64 and all of that, this is pretty cool to see. So we should be able to see more development going this way with the pre-release of Emulation Station for ARM64. Last on the software news, an ARM SX2 1.0.6 is now out, and this actually includes online support as well as turn-up custom drivers support. Now, I have not tried ARM SX2 since the official launch. I do have a friend that has been keeping me up to date on what's been going on with ARM SX2. Apparently, the performance is still not there yet when it compares to Nether SX2, but it seems like they are moving very quickly. It seems like a lot of updates are coming out, which is pretty cool. So I don't expect it'll take much longer, and this is just me guessing, for it to be the default PS2 emulator for Android, but we'll see. Okay, so question of the week, and I'm guessing this is mostly for Americans. Thanksgiving in Canada was a few weeks ago, but America was this week, and all of that. Anyways, what device did you bring to Turkey Day? I'm assuming a lot of you went to family, or family came to you, or whatever scenario. What device was brought out? What did you use when the turkey was done and everybody was sleeping and you had some downtime? What was it? And did you get any questions from any family members about it? Did it sell them on a handheld? Or was it like, is that just a Game Boy? Is that the new Nintendo? Is that what you got there? Like, let me know in the comments what you guys used, what you brought with you to your function for Turkey Day, and what was the response for what people saw. Okay, let's jump over to device news now. And I wanted to share this. I was going to do my own video on this, but I figured I'd just throw it in the newscast. The AYN Thor is awesome. We all know that. But there is a user that found out that you can use the magnifier function to throw up like mini maps or whatever on the second screen. The user, sheepherder2, just posted a video or an image of what it looks like. And I tried this out. And basically you go over to the accessibility settings in Android. You turn on the magnifier. You can give it a hotkey. And then you can basically move things around and throw it up on the second screen. And you could get mini maps there. You can get whatever you want. I found this to be pretty cool. I wanted to share it with you all. You can check out the subreddit or the actual Reddit post to see what people are doing with it. This was really cool. So I wanted to share it. I'm going to be honest, I have not followed the Anbernic RG DS stuff closely, mostly because I've adopted the approach of I'm not interested in it, so I don't really care about it. Whenever it arrives, I'll test it out and play with it, but I mean, I stopped caring once I realized this wasn't for me and all of the issues this has. That being said, apparently, according to Gamma of Gamma OS fame, the top screen is or was running at 40 Hz, while the bottom screen is running at 60 Hz. And he said he has fixed that. But there is still issues with frame lag and desync due to the above. Now, he is working on fixing all of this, and as much as I love Gamma, this really shouldn't be things that he has to fix. This is on Anbernic to fix, not on Gamma to fix. It is awesome that Gamma exists. It is awesome that Gamma does these things for the community. But again, this teaches Anbernic no lesson. So the lesson here for Anbernic is just wait for Gamma to fix it, ask him how he fixed it, and then integrate it into their device. Which, sure, that is a win for the community, but all that teaches Anbernic is they don't really have to do much if the community is just going to fix their problems every single time. And for a device that they have been showing off for the last month in numerous videos, for them not to notice this issue is either willful ignorance or they knew about it and just thought it would slip through the cracks. Neither of those are good answers. I think Anbernic gets far too much leeway for doing the bare minimum nowadays for their Android builds and everything else they do, and I think this is the time where it needs to be called out. So I don't know how I'm going to put this story in here, but I think it's something that needs to be called out and talked about. The KONKR Pocket FIT. What is going on with shipping with that device? I think even other devices. I mean, look, anybody who's known iiSU for the last few years knows that they cannot ship devices. This isn't new to anybody. However, I think for the KONKR Pocket FIT, the first device from iiSU that actually took off in a meaningful way, it is a different scenario. They had 7 units shipped the other day. 7 units shipped the other day. I think either of us could have assembled a device in that day, more than 7 of them. I don't know what is actually going on. There's over 2,000 units of the KONKR Pocket FIT that we know of, not including China orders, which means there's probably at least 4,000 or 5,000 units of these devices. 7 a day is just not going to cut it. And again, this isn't anything new. Anybody who's known iiSU knows this is what they do. I think the main difference here is a lot of people were sold a dream with the KONKR Pocket FIT. I don't know how many people were told about the shipping issues ahead of time about the KONKR Pocket FIT. Because most of us who have been in this hobby saw it and they're like, that's cool, but yeah, it's iiSU. By the time that ships, there's going to be about 3 other devices that are going to replace that. That's the scenario here. It is very weird. So anyways, I want to bring it up because I was looking at it. I have an order for the KONKR Pocket FIT. I fully expect at least April before it arrives. At least April before it arrives. I would be shocked if it arrived before April. And that's the way I'm looking at it. But I was curious because I was like, okay, I have an order. I'm going to go check it out. I went to the comments of the Indiegogo and everybody's like, where's my order? What's going on? Here's my order number. Some of them as low as like number 8 or like number 7. That have not ordered or seen an order. They were the 7th or 8th person to purchase it. Still no shipping or anything like that. So that does not give me confidence. But again, I knew this going in. It is iiSU. It is what you expect from them. If they could fix out look, they have a hit on their hands. This is a device that a lot of people want. If they could figure out the shipping, it'd be really good for a lot of people to have some faith in iiSU. But right now it seems like they can't figure it out. And I know it's not cool to compare to AYN and other manufacturers, but I mean, they don't have these problems. AYN has been shipping hundreds of units a day, thousands of units since the release of the Thor, and they are backed up. That thing has sold way more than they expected. So it's a weird scenario. Like iiSU is just not set up to sell more than like 100 devices. They just aren't. And so I don't know what's going on, but they need to figure it out. We are currently voting on December's Game of the Month and ROM Hack of the Month because it's the end of the month. So if that sounds exciting to you, maybe you can come join the Discord and you can vote on some games. Now, if you're curious what games are in the list, Donkey Kong, Wario Land 2, Good Boy Galaxy, Ninja Gaiden, Kirby Superstar, Yoshi Story, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, Metroid Prime, Mega Man Legends, and Dante's Inferno. Those are the games of the month. And then for ROM hacks, we have Pokemon Yellow Legacy, Pokemon Trading Card Game Neo, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow Alter, Extra Mario Brothers, Super Mario World Learn to Kaizo, Smash Remix, Super Mario Eclipse, Crash Team, what is GPs? Crash Team Grand Prix Nitro, whatever it is, and Digimon World 2 Alternative. Any of those games could be a game that you could be playing in December if you come vote on them. Like we started last week, there is some ROM hack news, and Pokemon Heart and Soul ROM hack got updated to version 1.2. 100 plus buffed movesets, challenge menu, battle frontier, contest hall, and a whole bunch more. So Heart and Soul, I've been waiting for that to come to Retro Achievements, but if you don't want to wait for that, you can jump in, 1.2 is out. No newscast questions this week, thankfully, because I'm running out of steam, but I appreciate y'all for watching, and that's all from me, Ormoc, Philippines.